Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Taylor and I'm a senior at Jonathan Law High School.
Hi, I'm Anthony Judovic, and I'm a senior at Joseph A. Foreign High School.
And today we're speaking with Nadja Streiter, who is a psychotherapist, activist, speaker, and family coach in Westport, Connecticut. In her practice, she treats teens and adults who struggle with unhealthy technology use and video game addiction. But she's a big fan of technology and refers to herself as a tech optimist. She is also a mom of 3 college-age kids, so she understands some of the challenges our age group faces. One of her favorite topics is digital wellness, and today she's going to talk with us about how, as we go forward from high school into our futures, we can create and maintain a healthy relationship with digital technology.
Good morning or good afternoon. How are you both doing?
We're good.
We're amazing.
I'm so impressed that you can actually say that given it's your senior year. I assume for both of you, you're both graduating this year and been removed from school unexpectedly and so on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough time for everyone. So as you said in the introduction, well, first of all, thank you for having me. I do work with a lot of people who are struggling with negative relationships with technology. And I thought it might be nice to talk about something positive today, especially given the fact that the very technology that you guys are always hearing is disconnecting you from society and relationships is the very technology that's keeping you connected these days. So now we're going to have to pause for 1 second. You don't have to turn it off for my my baby here. He doesn't have a digital wellness problem. He has a I need to sit next to mom all the time problem.
So cute.
Right. So let's begin.
All right. So Morgan and I have some questions for you, and I'm going to start off, and we're going to just go between us.
Okay.
So the first question we have is, why do you call it digital wellness, and what does digital wellness mean in general?
Well, I call it digital wellness because, as you all know, we're really dependent on these devices just to function from a day-to-day standpoint. So as we're digitally dependent, we have to think about how we're going to do it in a way that creates well-being for us. So, I define digital wellness as using tech in a way that makes you feel good, that makes your life better, that, the intention is that it enhances. Like if you think about how Waze enhances your life, I assume you both drive. So Waze enhances your life because you get to see what the shortcut is or the fastest way to get there. So tech is an enhancer, but not a substitute for human connection or an escape. Digital wellness to me means using your devices in a way that you're in control of the use. It's not tech being in control of you. So it's overall this sort of, healthy relationship where you basically figure out for yourself how you're going to extract the positives and you're going to minimize the negatives. And I think that it's important to respect that for every single person that is going to look different. So if you social media influencers get a really bad rap, okay? But if you're looking to a career in fashion, that's who you need to look. You need to see what's going on. You need to follow the trends. So, or if you're a high school student that's looking to promote, a message like gun control is a big message right now. And after the Parkland shootings, a lot of the students there took advantage of Twitter to promote messages of, hey, you need to protect us. So those are both social media platforms and they can be used positively or negatively. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
That's amazing. Our second question is, why is it important to be digitally well?
Okay. Well, overuse, of technology really does, negatively impact relationships. Once you get to a certain point of diminishing returns, like it's great to be able to communicate with your friends quickly and easily and frequently, But after a certain point, if you are not also present with the people in the room with you, that's going to have a negative impact on your relationships. I'm assuming both of you are going to be going off to college next year. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, you'll have a roommate and you can be on your, phone talking to your home friends or kids at, other schools. But at a certain point, you also need to interact with your roommate because that's who you're living with. And if you're always distracted, then that's going to negatively impact that relationship. Another reason it's really important is just from a standpoint of productivity and the quality of your work, because when your brain is kind of toggling back and forth, then it's really hard to get back on track. It takes a lot longer to get yourself back into a flow once you've stepped away. Also sleep. I mean, too much, digital use before bed. I'm sure you've heard a million lectures on that. So I want to bring something different, but sleep is important. It's also fostering a need, a greater need for instant gratification. So we're so used to, having an answer immediately or, getting what we want immediately. And, as adults over time, you've got to understand that that's not a healthy way to live. And you're going to just be in a constant state of disappointment when your gratification can't come immediately. So another factor is anxiety and depression, overuse of technology. There's a lot of disagreement about whether it's just correlation or there's causation, because sometimes people who are lonely will go to devices to quell their loneliness. And, so that those people already, it's not causing it for them, that exists already. Where for other people, if they're socially anxious, they might, instead of pursuing, seeing somebody, they withdraw into that, and that can contribute to their increased anxiety because they're just not practicing talking as much and interacting. So, okay, are we did we freeze? No, I think we're good. Okay, so then one other really important thing is that we all need to learn to be able to be comfortable and sit in our feelings, in our negative emotions. And certainly you guys have had to face a lot of that this year, with the pandemic and being quarantined. So, it's forced all of us to kind of sit with our feelings, and those who are more capable of that and can be okay with feeling sad and grief, and they know how to cope with it, they're going to get through this a lot better. So I think those are some of the most important reasons for pursuing digital wellness.
I would just like to go off something that you said, because it kind of triggered something in my brain.
Huh? Great.
When you spoke about instant gratification, it really made me think about the extreme popularity of apps like Vine and now TikTok, which have limits of the amount of time that you can use them. Kind of, especially Vine, which has 6-second limit. So it's kind of that kind of fosters, like you were saying, that instant gratification, because you could just keep scrolling through all these short videos that are meant to make you instantly laugh. So you're kind of expecting that in your real world for things to happen the same way. And it's just, there's not a connect.
Right. I mean, the speed with which you can get this digital satisfaction can never be matched, in other areas of your life. So, that's important to be able to make that distinction. And again, for me, digital wellness is understanding, that's what's going on.
And to go off of that, the next question that we made is, can you give us an example of healthy ways to use technology?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you, actually, I'm going to do a little trick here to you. I'm going to do a little quiz with you, okay? And you don't have to answer, maybe we'll all answer. But so questions I would ask you are, how often do you find that you're losing track of time when you're on your device? And let's rank these: never, rarely, sometimes, often. I know for me, often, that's my answer.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that one.
I would
Definitely
have to say
often.
sometimes.
Okay, terrific. Okay. Do you feel compelled to check right away if you hear a sound or a vibration?
Oh, 100%. All the
100%
time.
often.
100%.
Yeah.
For me too. How about, do you get distracted by your phone when you're with your family or your friends or you're trying to do work?
I feel like that would be a sometimes for me.
That'd
Sometimes.
be often for me. I find that that's like the most difficult part about having technology for me is like trying to study because then like my phone dings and then I'm like on the phone for an hour.
Right. Well, I will throw out one tip to you right now, just since we're talking about that, is to try to exercise the one device rule, so that if you're doing work, that the only device that you have at hand is just your laptop, and turn off the notifications on your laptop, obviously, because if you have a Mac and you have an iPhone, it's the same difference.
Yeah.
But if you can turn them off and not have your phone handy, that does at least help, to make it a little bit more difficult to be distracted. And obviously you've got to exercise self-control to not like toggle back and forth. So tempting for every teen and young adult. Okay. How about, do you spend more time on social media than you would like to?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Do you feel like you frequently stay on your phone at night instead of going to sleep when you intended to?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to say no. I really want to say no.
I do. I know that I do. And it really does. I've noticed that it makes a really big impact on how well I sleep. I'm always sort of, I revert to being a child and hearing my mom in my head saying, get some sleep, you need more sleep. And so I'm always resisting that, but I have really noticed if I don't turn it off, it's suddenly like midnight and then I want more. There's one more thing to read. And I don't get enough sleep, but I also really, quality of sleep
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
definitely impacted. My, study sample of one. But okay, so what about, do you feel like you're missing something important if you're not frequently checking your phone?
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm gonna miss like one text message that it's like my friend group is hanging out and then I won't get to.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes it's like I want to
absolutely.
delete an app, but then I'm like, I have like this internal struggle where it's like, well, if I delete this, I'll have more time. But also, if I delete this, I won't know anything that's happening with any of my friends or other
Yeah.
people.
Right. Completely understood. And those are real concerns. I mean, again, one of the reasons I wanted to do this way is not to sort of lecture you about, how to avoid technology addiction, because that doesn't address what's really going on in everyone's lives. So, of course, if this is our primary way of communicating, whether it's Snapchat or texting or, whichever you do, you're going to feel like you're missing if you're not checking. And that's reasonable. Everyone feels that way. And if they don't admit that, I'd question. Okay. So if you have a question, do you find that you're like immediately reaching for a device for an answer?
Yes. Like I feel like I go to my devices now before like my friends or my parents or like
Yeah.
anyone.
Both feel the same?
Hmm.
Yeah, me too. And I absolutely love that. That's one of the areas that I would say it's great to be able to get answers to things and, quickly and easily, and have an encyclopedia like at your fingertips all the time. Okay. How about, do you ever feel overwhelmed by like the number of emails or messages or, um, whatever you might have, on your phones? You feel overwhelmed by that ever?
I wouldn't say like overwhelmed, but definitely like a little bit like weary of it.
Mhm.
Like I'm in like huge college group chats and so some days it'll have like 500 messages in it and that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing with the college group chats. And especially for me, like when I wake up in the morning and if I see there's a lot of Google Classroom notifications, that just indicates to me that I'm going to have to do a lot of homework that day. And that kind of like makes me want to just go back to sleep and not wake up.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Do you guys this is, a little bit off my normal list, but like, do you find that there's a lot of hypocrisy, let's just say, that you're getting mixed messages from, parents and teachers that you're using too much technology, and there's some, are you abusing it in some way, and yet at the same time, everyone is funneling you towards, like,
Yeah, exactly.
technologists saying, oh, join the Facebook group for your incoming class and do your work with Google Docs. Like, you must feel that you're getting a lot of mixed messages.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, if I'm at a family gathering, some of my family would be like, oh, get off your phone. I'm like, my entire life is on here at that point. Like, especially now.
Yeah, and like a lot of times parents will be like, I know mine will tell me to get off my phone and stuff at like family gatherings or at, just in general. And I'm like, I can't, I have to do homework. Like,
And the assumption, of course, is always that, especially, if you're not an adult, the assumption is whatever you're doing is frivolous.
mhm.
So I just want to be champions for you guys and, remind any adults out there that might be listening that your life has become as amplified as everyone else's. And for you just to engage in your day-to-day functioning and meet, requirements, you're going to have to be on your device. So chill out, everyone. Is what I'm gonna- Okay. So I think that really what also we wanted me to talk about today was tips for digital wellness. So overarching, for me, principles, because I can't predict what's going to be, next in terms of an app that's going to try to take over all of your worlds. So I like to think, okay, how can we stay in front of this? So critical thinking, employ critical thinking, like always asking yourself, what is this doing for me? And is there another, like, can I get that need met in a different way? So you're sort of spreading out, if you identified what it's like, if it's entertainment that you need and you're looking at TikTok because you need some laughs, great, but just look for other ways that are also available to you. So that's a primary one for me. Another one is to adopt a mindful or intentional use mentality. So, for me, that means planning and like how much, in advance, how much time you really want to be on, what's the right time for you, amount of time on any given day, and, trying to scaffold yourself if you need to with timers or the apps on your phone that do help you control and see, what your usage looks like. So forgive me, all my tips are falling down. Technology doesn't like when I have negative things to say about it. Yeah, always, never fails. So just, paying attention to how much non-nutritive like screen time you're engaging in, and, pause the conversation in your mind so that you're not hearing everybody saying screen time, negative, screen time, negative, screen time, but that you're learning to make some distinctions between, is this a nutritive use for me? Learning to play guitar online, do it yourself, fixing something is very different from, again, sort of the mindless scrolling. So designate some free time, like, definitely do plan to have some screen free time in your life. Try to get outside into nature. Again, use those screen tracking tools so you can really get a sense of your behavior. Continuing, so I don't forget. Super helpful tip a lot of people find is to gray out your home screen and make it focused on like the utilitarian functions. So, your calendar, notes, Venmo, maps, like whatever you're really, Google Docs for school. So the utilitarian functions. Also very helpful for digital wellness is try to add some friction to the apps that you struggle to stay away from. So if you delete them from your phone, you can access them on your browser, but that takes an extra step. And so creating that little bit of friction gives you, a moment to pause and say, okay, is this really what I want to be doing right now? And, oh yeah, that's right. I want to pay attention to how long I'm doing it and how it's making me feel. Is it enhancing? Is it not enhancing? Is that all making sense to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, One other one that I really like for digital wellness is I suggest you curate your social media so that, it is informational, like finding out, I'm sure this is going to get publicized on social media. Okay, so that's informational. People, want to know this. So informational, educational, and inspirational. Like, if you curate with a focus towards those areas, then your social media even in itself just takes on a much healthier tone. And again, promotes digital wellness in a world where we're not going away from devices. It is what it is. And we're not going to stop using social media ever, period. I mean, your next one will be LinkedIn if it's not already. I don't know. Do high school kids use LinkedIn?
Nah.
No.
Well, unless something drastically changes, that's going to be like your next social media add-on that you don't have. So I think my last, one other, don't be afraid to set an away message, so you create some boundaries and friends understand that you're not always going to immediately respond. And that's okay. And they don't, you're not held accountable. And you make some distinctions between who is, entitled, and I mean that word in a good way, not the usual negative way, but like who's entitled to an immediate response. If you're working on a group project and you're having dinner with your family, somebody wants to know, hey, like you want to know as soon as they've done their part so you can get to your part, or, you owe sharing that information with them. So, paying attention and understanding like who you have to answer immediately and who can wait, and scaffolding those boundaries for yourself so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And then last but not least, again, with the knowledge that it's not just devices, but like technology overall that's really becoming so dominant, in our world with self-checkout and robots in the grocery store and so on, is always, always, always choose the human interaction. Like no matter what, because we all need to band together to fight to maintain that our world doesn't further become dominated by technology, and that we still foster human connection and human interaction. So when it says you can check it on www or you can order online, I'm going to say pick up the phone. make the phone call, talk to the guy at in the grocery store checkout lane. Like that's really good for you and really good for them, and ultimately then really good for society. So those are my digital wellness tips.
That's amazing. Those are all so good. Definitely taking some into my daily life.
I'll be happy to send them to you.
Perfect. I think we only have one more question that you haven't already answered. So how do people know if they're addicted to technology or gaming?
Right. Well, certainly if you're trying to reduce your use and you're struggling with it, so I like to think like problematic and less addicted. But so if you know that you're doing it too much and you can't really stop, or if it is really having a negative impact on important domains of your life. So if you're not getting to school, or you're not sleeping, or you're not able, you're not exercising, you're not eating properly, like that, so that negative, those are negative signs that maybe technology is really taking over in a problematic way. Gaming, like as a whole, I do a lot of work with video game addiction. And what's really challenging about that is that it's become the primary form of play, for an entire age group. and not only just play, but, Discord. I don't know how familiar you are with Discord, but, that's become sort of a social media platform in and of itself, and also a messaging platform in and of itself. So, and Fortnite has become a social hangout, like with concerts and, all kinds of sort of fun things to do. So when you're not able to reduce, when it's affecting you in negative ways, those are really the two primary, hallmarks of when it's problematic for you. When you're preoccupied, like, when can I get to this next? I want to rush through everything else because I want to get, to talking, to gaming, really, like that's the primary one. But more challenging because who doesn't want to get to the thing that's fun and where they're seeing their friends? So the answer to that is kind of evolving. But does that, oops. Oh, okay, we're upgraded. Sorry, I saw something. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, completely.
Giving me
Thank
like
you.
a whole overwhelming clinical overview?
I love it. I think that's all the questions we have for today.
Okay, well, I want to wish you guys good luck. I think probably when this gets posted on the website, I guess my information, if anybody wants to contact me now or in the future, should be there. And be safe, be well. Happy virtual graduation.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And good luck.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. We just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to answer our questions and providing us with so much insight about such intriguing topics. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you
too.
too.